Hi guys, so here is the concluding part of our WRC 6 Rally of Sweden. So kicking off here with a super special stage at Karlstad, 100% snow. Now straight away this first turn, it just went on forever. It sort of tightened and it opened and it tightened. As you can see me hitting the barrier there, really tricky stuff. You know, it is one hell of a way to kick off this super special stage. You see how much it tightens here, look at that, wow. So really easy to get wrong. And you know, just in general, this super special stage was incredibly tough. And of course they are based off of the real world thing, so they are one-to-one replicas. So you know, what you're experiencing here is more or less what the real rally drivers would experience. You know, really good stuff, really tense. I do have a good lead in the Rally of Sweden overall, but still I wanted to you know, get a reasonable time in these last two stages. But I have to say I was taking it pretty tentatively through certain turns because I just found it very challenging indeed. So we're coming up to around the halfway mark now, so they are very short stages as I top out over 200 kilometers per hour into a braking zone. And again, another left-hander that just seems to go on forever. You're turning, you're turning, you're turning, you're constantly turning. The turn itself is shifting in the angles, so you know, you are kept on your toes into a really tight square left here. Now over these wonderful jumps, these are the showpieces of the super special stage. You can see the pyrotechnics going off. Oh, it's great stuff. Getting on slightly onto the ice bank there as we come up to the latter stages of this Karlstad super special stage in the Rally of Sweden. And after this we've just got the one more stage to go, which is a pretty epic stage. More on that in just a second. But yeah, we're coming up to, this is the very last turn now. Excuse me. Or is it? I think it is. It just goes on forever again, doesn't it? It's one of those turns. So yeah, sure enough. So here's the finish line. And we're going to take the checkered flag there. So overall, okay, we finished first. So we're going to move on now to the fifth and final stage. So here we are then, the fifth and final stage of the Rally of Sweden for WRC 6. We're here at Vargassen, which is actually the first stage that is not 100% snow. So there is a slight let up from the snowy conditions. It is 70% snow and 30% gravel. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is a pretty epic stage, just in terms of length as I go speeding through there. Wow. So we're looking at 11.5 kilometers, which is roughly about 7 minutes in length it came out to. So you know, with rally stages, rally games in general, you know, you tend to get 2, 3, maybe 4 minute stages, and even though they're short stages, still require an awful lot of concentration. You know, you need to be at that certain level of concentration all the time with these rally games, because you have to listen to your co-driver. You know, if you space out a little bit, it can all go pretty wrong. And you know, with track-based games, you know, often if you do space out, you tend to put in your really sort of best laps, and you know, you guys probably have experienced that on a number of occasions. But rally games is a different beast altogether, because you know, should you lose 1 or 2 calls that go over your head, you know, you're in a lot of trouble. So you end up in a ditch or on an ice bank in this case. So you know, you do really have to intently concentrate throughout the whole experience. And you know, 2, 3, 4 minute stages on their own are tough enough. But this stage at 7 minutes, incredibly challenging, just on a mental level. You know, to concentrate so, you know, to remain so focused for such a, you know, relatively long amount of time really was a challenge. So once again, we're driving the Mini John Cooper Works WRC car, which has, excuse me, as I go whacking into the side there of the stage. But we're talking 315 bhp. Only weighs 1,200 kilograms and has a colossal amount of torque with 425 newton meters on offer there. So we're driving, of course, from the bonnet cam, which, you know, it's a nice playable level. You do see a lot of the stage. You know, it's good visibility. It's not too low, it's not too high. It's just about right. And you know, I find with rally games, especially snowy stages, they do tend to, from the cockpit view, it sometimes can be a little bit hard to make out. To differentiate between the surface and the sort of the ice banks either side. So I find with icy stages such as Sweden, you know, it is best to switch to the bonnet or the bumper cam. So we're coming up to the 2.5 minute marks and taking on this left hairpin. Then again, we're not using a handbrake once more, so it is a little bit extra challenging. You know, with the handbrake, you can often sort of scrub off the speed, that inertia you have, you know, by whacking the handbrake. So you can take the turn at a higher speed than what you would if you didn't use your handbrake. You know, when you're not using the handbrake, you really do have to get the speed down and turn the wheel into the turn. and sort of trying to break traction with your steering rather than using the handbrake, which is an awful lot easier, and as a result, you know, you can maintain more speed through the corners. But we're coming up to about the halfway mark now, and of course this year's WRC, real world WRC, has undergone some pretty drastic changes, probably the most drastic changes I've seen in my lifetime. You know, cars will be more powerful than they've been for a long time, and lighter as well. So we're talking, you know, typically cars are around the 300 to 320, maybe 315 bhp mark. These new cars for this year's WRC are at 380 bhp or thereabouts. So, you know, incredible amount of power, and the minimum weight as well has come down a little bit. So they're going to be more powerful. They're going to be lighter than, you know, we've seen for a long time. And in some respects, it is a return to the heyday of the sort of Group B rally cars of the 80s, you know, the iconic rally cars that we know and love. And, you know, I guess in some ways that, you know, the World Rally Championship has sort of, you know, it needs this kick up the backside, really. It just generates more interest. You know, for me, rally cars, you know, they're very similar looking. There's not a great deal of variation between them physically, so although we're not really getting that now, at least this time round we're getting the increased power and the reduction of weight. So in all probability, I think they are actually faster than the Group B rally cars of the 80s. So, you know, it's really exciting stuff to watch. I haven't actually watched any of the WRC so far this year, but I certainly will get onto that. You know, we've had the Monte Carlo stage last month, and just recently the Sweden stage, and I believe it's Argentina next. I might be wrong on that, but that'll be coming up pretty shortly as well, so I will be checking those out. And, you know, of course, all these really powerful cars will be coming to next year, or this year's I should say, WRC 7 game, so it'd be very interesting to sort of get to grips with these new cars with their increased power and slightly less weight. So it does make things a little bit more exciting, and I feel that, you know, it really is the kick up the butt that the sort of rally does need. So we're past the 5-minute mark now. You know, it's just a case of bringing the car home, because we do have a very decent lead, so there's no chance of really coming second. But there you go. We was repairing the car as well in between stages, whereas the last time out in Monte Carlo we opted not to repair. So, you know, I do have a lot of confidence in this car that nothing's going to go wrong. But you know, the tyres at this point will start to get worn, so I do have to be pretty mindful of the fact that, you know, the tyres won't have them as much grip on this sort of loose and icy surface. And of course, using the handbrake to get not using the handbrake, sorry, to get around the turns is you know, just it adds extra challenge once your tyres start going off as well. But yeah, just sort of bearing that in mind. So we've got about a minute or so now to go, and it's looking good. Just got to bring the car home. You know, a lot of fun, WRC 6, especially when using a wheel, because it is one of those games that you do get so much more out of using the wheel. With WRC 5, I felt that the handling was too floaty, really. The wheel didn't really add to the experience. The game, for me, was more fun with the controller, whereas with WRC 6, I find the opposite is actually true, and that the game is a lot more fun using a wheel over a controller, because you can sort of really break traction with the cars with the quick steering. You can catch your slide, you know, with the opposite lock, and it really is a lot of fun as a result. So it would, you know, it's certainly a game I'd recommend if you do have a steering wheel, you know. But just don't go expect it to be an absolute, you know, out and out simulator, because it's not. But needless to say, you know, it is a lot of fun still, so it is worth picking up just for having a bit of fun with. But we're going to be coming up to the end of the Rally of Sweden now. So that was it for now. We'll have more on WRC 6 and other rally titles coming up in the future. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.
Well, how do you like it?